Alright everyone, it's time for a special literary update. The new edition of the Book of Forbidden Knowledge is now available. The link to Amazon in the description. I'll also pin it at the top if you're watching this video on YouTube down in the comments. This is an important work. It's sold tens of thousands of copies in its first run since I released it some years ago. This edition is fully re-illustrated. It's been cleaned up. A couple minor mistakes were made in the original edition, and I use a different format now, so it looks cleaner. It simply looks more professional and is better, with a new foreword, of course, expansive foreword describing the work. It was not originally a work that I expected to be top tier as far as sales went. I would figure that more for like the Ars Goetia and a few works like that. Instead, this one became number one through means that I still don't 100% understand. I decided to release a new edition partially because sales dropped because people have started undercutting other people's editions because of Amazon's new pricing arrangement. And one of my original goals was to hold the price down, so I decided to return the favor and undercut them. So I'll have the highest rated and the lowest cost works within that genre. I think that can work. People appreciate that. I strongly recommend, if you're interested in the occult, that you get a copy of this. It's a bric-a-brac. Its pedigree is partially from the Petit Albert, which comes from the middle of the 1700s. It derives a little bit from Hohmann's Powwows, and a lot of the material in it doesn't have a pedigree at all. It talks about fortune-telling, black magic, by which they mean charms and incantations and things of that nature, how to unbewitch a gun, how to gain a magical rock that'll allow you to talk to animals. Some of it is kind of weird stuff, and it's funny because a lot of that it seems to take very seriously at face value, while also having a fairly expansive section on spirit rapping, specifically from the Davenport brothers, which was already several generations removed from the manufacture of this book, and how to replicate it, how the trick worked and stuff. So you have some skeptical, like, hey, it's illusionism material in this work, but you also have stuff that's presented very much literally. Some references to alchemy, the transposition of names and basic cryptography and a few things like that. It's a fascinating work. It would be similar to the Petit Albert, again, a bric-a-brac work, or Hohmann's Powwows. A little bit more dark than Hohmann's Powwows, though, and a little less out there most of the time than the Petit Albert. That was rather a weird work, or the Grimoire Verum, or something like that. I think that I highly recommend it. Again, I've cleaned this edition up, so it's perfect. Years ago, I didn't make perfect editions. I was still, young and inexperienced at editing. I've improved over time. Also, just asking this. If you do get a copy of this work, again, the link is there in the description, please leave a rating. Those help massively on Amazon. The only reason why people are buying the original work still is because it has so many positive ratings, because it's a good edition. It's not because of price. Amazon weighs those two things effectively, and it determines where you are when you check the editions on the side or when you simply search for a search term that's from the tags. It takes two things into consideration. It's a very fair algorithm, actually. How many ratings do you have? And the positivity is weighted, of course. And how much is the cost? Because most people are searching for the lowest cost first. Well, that's me now as well. If it then also gets a bunch of positive ratings, as it definitely deserves, and the illustrator did a very good job re-illustrating, especially the talisman section, which is useful, and one of the sections people like the most, that's actually appears to be derived from the Black Raven, partially. Story about the Magi in Egypt, of course. It really is helpful if you leave a rating. If you leave a full-on review, it's even more helpful. So again, new edition is available. I'll be re-editing a number of other works over the rest of this year and into next year as well. The work continues. That's about all. Peace out.